where I'll be sipping it. Watch a bunch of shows, I'm getting it. Yeah, I understand it's a quarantine, I gotta be chilling all alone, but I'm getting sick. People who be running half the office, signing politics, and scrambling to tell the kid to stop. I ain't gonna leave the room, I don't wanna kill a few with that the shit that is inside my car. Look at the drop, chicken it bigger than now, taking a part of the crowd. Don't wanna pop, I don't wanna them down, better be kicking them out. Look at the rock, smoking loud up in my damn house. Solo though I know I'm never going on and out. Party on my own, y'all. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Going so loud. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Slow down, fuck going out, getting high on the weekend. So loud, oh, party on my own. Party on my own. I'm doing what I'm doing, I don't got a lot to prove. And if I'm moving, then I'm grooving, cause I wanna do it. Stupid, got my music and I lose it to another tune or two. If I don't get to move it, even real can do it when I'm cooking. And you know I'm cooking bacon. You don't wanna check under the apron. Vacuum the whole room naked, facing windows so people who out getting the greatness. Telling me better to hate this, really though it ain't shit when you could compare to what the other people facing. So what I am drinking, still half full is true when comparing to the nations. Party on my own, y'all. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Going so loud. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Slow down, fuck going out, getting high on the weekend. So loud, oh, party on my own. Party on my own. Party on my own now. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Going so loud. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Party on my own now. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Going so loud. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Slow down, fuck going out, getting high on the weekend. On now, so loud, oh, party on my own. Party on my own. Party on my own. Yeah, that's tight. Max Watson, Tony Romero. Party on my own.
Complete control. Control.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mini RPG of the Week. This is Edition 32, otherwise known as Season 2, Edition 7. My name is Nualaik. I'm back, I think, for this QDC might legitimately be my first appearance in Season 2, which...
It is.
Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. Look, my internet's been trying to die. How you doing, QDC?
I'm doing well. Hey, listen, I'm the new host of this, right? At this point, I might as well be.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I mean, you're the Season 1 host, I'm the Season 2 host. That's just how it happens now, you know?
Yeah, no, that seems fair. I've been gone for long enough that I have been usurped, and sometimes that's just how it be. I'm looking forward to tonight, though, as I've seen some of the changes made for Season 2, some different map styles coming through. We have had one pathfinding map before. We're going to get another one tonight, another extended 25-minute discovery phase. And that last one, it looked like a lot of fun. I'm hoping tonight lives up to that as well.
A lot of fun, indeed. I think a lot of minuses from very peeved players that didn't exactly enjoy getting it and got tilted. I think is more like it. Not that the map was minus, or that the tilt was there. But hopefully no tilt today. We've seen enough tilt for the last few weeks here. I don't know if you've been watching every single one.
I've seen some.
But I've seen a lot of assault recently. A lot of people unhappy, mainly some certain streamers that just can't seem to get top 10 anymore in Season 1.
Yeah, I mean,
it might be a bit salty.
It's tough. There's some good players there, and some different styles of maps as well are going to contribute to that. And look, there's a lot going on in Mini RPG of the Week, as always. A lot of moving parts, and one of those moving parts being that we are without our usual admin today, Zetarite off having a busy week somewhere else. And that does mean that the mapper for this week is going to be providing the server is going to be running things on admin side. So we're going to have a little bit of leeway on those things, but I'm trusting that he's going to do an absolutely fantastic job. That mapper this week is Arcano, has created the map that we will be playing on. As I said, looking very much forward to seeing how that goes. The extended 25 minutes start time, the 25 minutes for players to discover the map necessary in the pathfinding mode. Something also to note, Cam 7 will be disabled by a script on the server, so that you have to do your own pathfinding. You have to not just zoom out and go looking for it yourself. And then, of course, we'll be into Cup of the Day style rounds directly after that 25 minutes anyway. But I think, especially on a map like this, we may see a lot of knockouts in round 1.
Alright, well, the map's about to load in. No Cam 7 allowed. Let's see. I want to see...
How big is this map, do you think? How much time is it going to take for us to see cars going from one end to the
other? I'm pretty sure I have that information somewhere, so I should probably just look it up. It is colourful. It's very fun to look at, if nothing else. Our map tonight is called, and let me just pull up the document because I have all of this information and I should use it. Naupthika by Arcano is tonight's map, inspired by Tom's RPGs. It's a bit of a mix of pathfinding and just a straight up obstacle race. And I think we are expecting times of somewhere around 50 seconds, but I think especially on a map like this, we kind of expect our good players to push this a little bit lower.
Yeah, I wonder where we'll see, because I do see the current CPs in the finish skinny as a 48.7. So I'm expecting last week we had an expectation and it was usurped by like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So let's see if this gets, especially in the pathfinding, right? If you don't think of a path and the other players suddenly see it out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And you're just blindsided by that, you could be off by over 10 seconds up to, right?
Yeah.
Realistically.
It could hurt you an awful lot
if
you just can't find it. Of course, we can see all the players here, and I mean, I assume some players will be checking other players out as well, as we are just on board with Australix, one of the other players who has done a bit of mapping for Mini RPG of the Week as well. So let's see, how does that hold up when looking to find the path through this map?
Let's see it. So there's some hint. Are there some hints on the map? Look.
It could be. I think what's happened here is I was going to say maybe he's driven into a GPS or is getting a hint and we just can't see it. Something's going on there.
Getting a hint.
Yeah, I think a lot of these players are getting it. Otherwise, they're all just very confused and really like this plastic. I could try and drive into it. Do you want to? I don't have my controller. All I have is keyboard, so like, it could go badly. But
keyboard supremacy, man.
Oh, GPS. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay. Next time. Good effort.
Nice try.
Uh-huh.
You're getting there. Come on. Yeah, there you go.
We'll try the hardware
right.
GPS. Good job, me. God, that's impressive.
Oh, so it is a GPS.
So there is GPS, and there's a couple of GPSs, as opposed to the last time we had a pathfinding map where there was just the one GPS, and I'm already seeing, yeah, this looks like a hard way to me, and potentially still not the fastest way.
No, definitely not, especially with all these wall bounces, right? The plastic bounces on these walls. Yep. I do like what I see, though, here. Marty, that could be a little bit streamlined. Oh, yeah, I could see so many... How these players could definitely set this up way better.
Oh, the fact that there's some pistons moving on the track there, and I mean, that just means that if you approach that section at different times, depending on the route you take, it's going to be slightly different. That's interesting. That's a little bit spicy.
Very interesting. I do like this route, but I think there's going to be a faster one.
Oh, 100%. That was, what, nearly a full minute for that route?
Yeah.
Or no,
48 has already been done.
Yeah.
So let's see, honestly. I can't wait to see what we do get.
Yeah, let's have a look at the Safeway GPS as well, just to see how things are going over here. There's green arrows. There are arrows for players to follow. You have to double respawn for the Safeway GPS. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yes, in a slow-mo block afterwards.
Brutal.
Okay, so this... Oh, I see. Okay, so you respawn at every checkpoint and go directly to the next one. Yeah, this is as safe as it goes. This is like me driving GPS.
Yeah, no, this makes sense. Let's leave Spectator. I don't think we're going to see many competitors going for that. We're on board with Hydro, who's doing some plastic wall bounces, is trying out this hard way a little bit. And as we said, we do expect to see players kind of finding their own paths through it right now. At the top of the leaderboard at the moment is Hazard. No real surprise there. So why don't we jump on board, have a look what Hazard is doing. Getting towards the end of a run now, maybe just practicing tricks in the middle of that one as well, is going to be turning in. This is the finish we saw on the hard way. So let's stay on board with Hazard for a full run through, see what he's up to.
Well, he's already done a sub 1, so let's see if he can replicate that. Let's see if any of the other players afterwards will go for any different routes, right? Because obviously, these players, they want to find other routes at the moment, right? They're not necessarily going to try to go for this very route, because we know that we can already do sub 50s, and if you can only do like a 55, let's say, with this route, then you must find another route, or else you are not going to make it to top 20, I would say.
Yeah, and I think even just looking at this route, it's difficult. This hard route is, as advertised, quite difficult. Just picking up the speed on that first turn, I mean, it's definitely doable, but it's quite a precise first turn. Never mind this ice wall bounce afterwards directly into maybe another one, and landing on that plastic, a little bit of a chance to skid out, to have your wheels fly out from under you. So it's going to be hard. And there's kind of this question. It looks like Hazard at the moment, QDC, is just looking to maybe try and perfect this designed hard way, is looking to not look for any sequence breaks. It's just like, okay, if I put time into getting this right, because it's hard to get this right, I can do well.
Exactly. And of course, if you know the main way how to do the map, then it could be a nice backup. But at the same time, if you spend too much time going for the safe way, because already 5 minutes have elapsed, right? If you lose too much time, then you're going to have less time to perfect the other ends of the track, where you could be finding little sequence breaks, which I think a lot of players are doing right now, finding the sequence breaks, and possibly will break them out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, could definitely be the case, but Hazard that time, sub 1 minute, still standing at the top of the leaderboard. Marius has joined him there, managing to get a pretty quick, pretty fast time already, as Hazard is going for that long jump to the right instead of the slightly safer jump to the shorter distance. I think maybe afraid of just bouncing off the plastic on that one, but you can see this first turn already so much better than it started. Consistency starting to come through, and then this second landing as well, working out for Hazard, and you can make that jump a little bit longer if you do go directly for that. It is still a wall bounce here that Hazard is going for, and we'll see if this is the run that he does choose to continue on. The reuse there I quite like, essentially the same jump, but coming at it with a bit more speed. And here's immediately something that is different from the GPS, getting a bit more speed by landing on that tarmac. It doesn't necessarily change the route, but it is an optimization that you can make immediately.
Yeah, because it's actually much faster, right? You land earlier, and as well, you get a higher jump up from the start, but you land earlier as well because of the ramp jump that's if you go to the lower. So overall, it's actually just faster overall to do that, but it's also much riskier, as you could probably imagine.
Yep. Precision. It's difficult. Who knew when you're driving a car? But it is coming
timings.
off. Just managing to turn the car correctly, and in fact just not going. You could see the GPS went for that concrete strip over on the left. I think if you went for both concrete strips, maybe a little bit of overkill, but definitely landing on that slightly higher one, giving you more exit speed, definitely going to be the play. And then it's cutting inside the corner there on the water, managing to get underneath, and then the hard right turn. This is looking like a good run from Hazard. This could definitely be an improvement on the local PB. Could be an improvement on the local best then, although it's been taken away from him in the meantime. This is now the final turn. Needs to straighten up, get over the top. Flag is there. And that was Hazard. Not quite, well, improved by a full 4 seconds, but not managing to overtake the players in front. And honestly, I don't think he was on pace to overtake either Scandier or Spammy Jr. in front there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the issue, right? Is that's pretty much maxed out at that point. You already know that at most you could probably do a 52 or 51. With that route. So if you're going to try this, you definitely need to find a new route, or at least a skip somewhere, a sequence break anywhere, because saving a second while others are going to be doing 51, 52s is going to be massive.
Yeah, I think Spammy Jr. must have found something, surely, because that was, with a crash just before the last jump, still on pace to be kind of a 51, 52, it looked like.
Right.
And I don't know, some of that may have come from the fact that he was turning around much earlier on the last ice. But still, surely there's got to be something in the middle of this run that's doing it. It can't just be driving that much faster.
Yeah, I don't know what it could be either, as... there you go, a nice little bounce off the plastic. Let's see what he does for this half pipe. Will he jump up? Ooh, no, he'll stay instead on the road, which makes him slightly faster going up and back down.
So is there something else you can use that tarmac, the raised tarmac strip over on the side for? I'm wondering, is there a separate kind of thing you can do? And also just a quick look at those pistons again. They could be very punishing for someone's respawn if you go off the side and then the pistons aren't where you need them to be on the next respawn. Something else to keep in mind in rounds. I think those pistons, you talked about some potential rage quits in previous weeks. Pistons, if there's anything that's going to cause them on this map, I think moving parts. Trackmania players aren't so used to those moving parts.
Right. I don't see anyone going for the wrong way necessarily, right? No one's sequence breaking at this point. I don't see any of the ghost cars either doing it, so it's very
just
odd. I'm
optimizations.
surprised.
A little bit pathfinding. As you say, a little bit surprising maybe that it hasn't been done yet. But maybe there just isn't that many sequence breaks to find. Maybe it's less of a kind of open pathfinding map than our previous pathfinding map was. It is very much more about like, hey, maybe there are some alternate routes. We'll have to see if these players do end up going for it. I do think all the optimizations so far are just driving optimizations. It's just finding faster ways through the same turns that everyone else is making.
Right. Well, let's go on to look at someone else. Let's see how Scander's doing.
Ooh, let's go and find Scandier in this list of players, because I can't just click on him over there. Scandier over here on this side anywhere. Nope. Oh, nope. Alright, I'll find him in the list of players. I'll do it. I'm definitely just going to scroll past him and chat's going to shout at me. I've 100% done it already. And it doesn't, like, they're all moving around the place. Oh, he was there for a second. There he is. Nice.
There you go.
Nailed it. Oh, that was clean. Hazard has immediately retaken it. As soon as we jumped on board with Scandier, Hazard retakes the local first.
Yeah, but of course, we already know that he's going for the GPS route, the hard GPS route. So we already know what he's doing. Scandier, we're not too sure, right? Not as much, but he's also doing pretty much the exact same route. Nothing too different than the others. Gets the checkpoint. Not risking it too much either. And he'll get himself a 52. Ooh, a 51.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And that was with some slowdowns, actually. So he could possibly get a 49 just off of the regular line then. Because there was a few slowdowns that he did get.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just reading through the mapper description here of the various checkpoints and things. And You know, making sure that there's nothing too there's nothing too surprising hidden in there. You know, he did talk a lot about how he was influenced by Tom's mapping style, about the idea that a lot of the checkpoints look like they're almost achievable from different checkpoints, but then are just out of reach. You know, they said that the reuse in the middle of the map where checkpoint 1 and checkpoint 4 are very close to each other. You use the same jump to get into both of them, but you just don't have the speed to get into checkpoint 4 the first time you go through. As we're on board with Scandir, as he shows us, you know, that's checkpoint 4 up to the left there. And that's fun. I do enjoy seeing a good reuse and seeing it's very Metroidvania, right? Where you see something in the distance and you're like, I can't get that now, but I'm going to come back to it and I'll know I'll be able to get it later.
But that's a lot of games, isn't it? Like, especially collectathon games. I'm thinking of, what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Ocarina of Time and Donkey Kong 64, where you could go back to the older levels and find yourself, okay, yeah, that's something I could do later on, right?
Uh-huh.
Going back to older sections of the game with different powers and different characters, you find yourself being able to do the stuff that you didn't expect to be able to. Oh,
that flag. Oh, that flag is going to get so many people in rounds. Yeah, they're fun types of games, you know. Listen, I'm a big fan of Day 9 as a content creator. I think a lot of people are. That's not making me special or unique in any way at all. But I think he's had some pretty good rants about game design, and particularly Metroidvanias and that style in general of, you know, showing the players something and then, you know, telling them you can't do this now, but then you're excited when you get to come back and do it later. And there's a place for it in Trackmania maps as well. You know, you show the players a jump that they can't make right now, and in RPGs in particular, you're like, look at this map element that I'm not letting you play with just yet. Come back later in the map and maybe you'll get to do it.
The best part of it is that it reuses assets, right? Which makes the map more compact and makes you use less objects, and also presses the curiosity of the player at the same time. I really like it, honestly, more than just creating the biggest map possible. Even Deep Fear reuses some of the assets, right? It might be a 10-minute map, but
Deep Fear with no reuse is a whole, like, nobody's computer is running that thing, no matter how hard you try.
I mean, no one's computer is already running Deep Fear,
right?
This
is true, yeah. But even with, like, fog turned down or fog turned up and the rest of it, it just seems like it'll be starting to get into whole different territories.
Right. Already that I can't even open the game to begin with. I can't imagine trying to open Deep Fear. Yeah. But then again, I come from the Geometry Dash community, right? Oh, where their levels can have upwards of like 1 million objects.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though it's a mobile game, if you have 1 million objects, even a 3090 will have trouble loading that level.
Yep, for sure.
So that's... Yeah, it gets tough running the higher end levels for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, look, you play enough Minecraft, it gets tough to run that world as well. Like, it's it's a classic. Bloons Tower Defense 6, the true benchmark of any graphical processing unit in the year of our Lord 2022.
Loading new chunks in 2B2T, the absolute peak of running your hardware.
I mean, Dwarf Fortress just in general as a concept. That's
oh, pretty much, yeah.
Yep, all going to be a ton of fun, and this map also going to be a ton of fun when we get into rounds. There are definitely places that will lend themselves to risk and to comebacks. This last plastic turn, I think, before the ice turnaround, and the ice turnaround itself are both going to be points where you have to choose how brave you are right before you start. I think that plastic we saw on previous Scandir run just there, when he came at it with a little bit just too much speed and slightly misjudged his angle, car flipped over the wall almost immediately. And that's not going to be great for your time in rounds, but if you're a little bit behind, maybe that's something you start to risk.
Now, I'm actually curious, because the only German I see is Marius in the top 15, right? I don't see Turbo. I don't know if Lars is playing as well, but if he is, he's not in the top 15. So Lars normally is the guy who's looking for all the skips. Scandir gets the perfect water transition there. Look at the speed he brings. And yeah, this could be a 49, I do believe. If he's gone a little bit deep there. So maybe a 50 now.
and you lose deceptive amount of speed on that. It is 50 though. It was close to a 49. I think that last turn as well. You know, it's again one of those places where when you're coming off of ice onto dirt and you want to get out of that as quickly as possible, it's definitely possible to over push a little bit in trying to find grip and maybe falling out of the turn a little bit as well. And I think this is one of those ends that there's not a huge amount in terms of moving parts going on, right? Like it is a turn into another turn, a turn into an ice turnaround into a turn, yeah? But there's room there for these players to get too hypey or to push too hard, and that's going to be a lot of fun in the rounds.
Let's hope that someone can find a way to consistently NASCAR their way around this turn here, the blue plastic turn. I don't know if you've seen one of the recent races in NASCAR. Someone rode the entire last turn because it was faster than braking for the turn.
I did see that. That was pretty fun. It does bring a whole new meaning to NASCARing in Trackmania, right? When NASCAR becomes a plastic style instead of a NASCAR style.
Could you imagine?
If we just co-opt the term NASCAR in Trackmania,
right? But we've already seen turns? A NASCAR ice plastic map before.
Okay,
right? And
sure.
You go fast.
Yeah.
You zoom up to like 800 speed really quickly, which is pretty incredible when you think that you're on ice. But because of the way you physically get attracted to the plastic, right? Yep. On top of that, with the ice just being able to accelerate so much faster for that reason, you just have so much speed. Look at this 49. It's gonna be I'm gonna flag that flag.
Yeah, that flag it's been catching people. I also really enjoyed Scandier went for a wall bang on that ice turnaround to lose momentum on the uphill and get that car turning a little bit faster. That's interesting. I think that seems like the kind of strat that seems liable to stick around as far as rounds and probably deep into rounds as well, because it's relatively low risk at that point and it does turn you around that a little bit quicker.
How do you like the linear version of this map, right? How you have to go from down to up, back down again, but once you're down, you can't jump back up to other checkpoints, right? It feels pretty foolproof in this sense that you can't go to other checkpoints without losing time.
Yeah, you're getting speed checked pretty hard anytime you want to. It's definitely denying a few of the like more obvious sequence breaks, right? Like, you know, that checkpoint 1 jumping to checkpoint 4 and then maybe looking back to 1 or something. It's hard to find the speed without going so far out of your way to make it unviable. And as you say, it's the vertical nature of the map doing a lot of work in that regard.
Because if you do want to go wide and get checkpoint 4 first, you see that there's a slowdown, right? And yeah, you'll get slow mode, but you will get up there. But is that slow-mo worth hitting, right, and losing precious seconds just a sequence break to go directly from checkpoint 1 to checkpoint 4?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Probably not, right? But also, has anyone really been trying? I get the feeling that a lot of our top players especially have been putting a lot of their time into just optimizing the map, because it's still difficult enough that just getting that optimization down is taking a lot of the time. It's not like they figured out the hard route like 5 minutes in and we're like, cool, I have 20 minutes to go and play around and figure out if I can sequence break and make this map work for me instead.
Right.
Oh, there goes Techie.
Well,
just kind of cruising off the edge.
That was pretty much the only tech turn of this map, and he failed it.
Yes.
I guess he failed his namesake.
How do pistons work on this warm-up server?
So how pistons work is every time you restart, right?
Yes. No, they should restart their cycle, right? But that's true on the warm-up server as well, right? Like, it's not...
Yes.
Okay, it's not a global cycle for everyone right now. Because
No, it's not a global cycle. Because it's consistent, right? The way the pistons are, right? Every time it hits 35, 36 seconds, it'll be extended exactly the same way every single run. Look at this. Techie's going for sequence breaks here.
He's trying to see if there's something here.
Few.
He's just looking for the GPS.
Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah, that's how I thought the things worked, and I would have been shocked if they weren't consistent, because we saw players getting across them consistently. But you know, because obviously if they'd been on a global cycle, it would have just been a whole different ball game once we got into the once we actually got into live rounds. But no, it's fine. It's fine.
The problem is going to be once someone has a reset, right?
Yes.
Well, now they're off the cycle.
Yeah.
Automatically.
Then you're in trouble. Also, right of flag. Potential faster? Potential safer as well than going left of flag. It feels like that... I don't know if that requires more or less aiming. I feel like it allows you to just overturn your car a little bit more in the dirt section, and then because you're moving a little bit slower when you hit the booster, maybe you can line up a little bit easier, but I wouldn't like to be forced to commit to saying either way.
True. I mean, aiming is hard in the first place, right?
So
Especially when you're far off and hey, you need a booster. You need to make. I mean,
when you need to line up on the booster, that's when things get spicy.
Yeah, exactly. Just sit down, man.
Just chill. See if Yannick's can break into this top 10, at least in warm-up times anyway. Is still sitting behind Hazard, who hasn't managed to regain towards top of that leaderboard. Hasn't done a huge amount of improving the last little while. That's interesting. Surely no speed. I don't think there's any way you have speed after doing that to make this next turn, though. Which,
I mean, obviously you don't want to go too high either, right? Because then you have excess speed, but you've lost time because of it.
Yes.
So, I think Yannick is just looking for something.
Yeah, just seeing if there's anything that could be done to do it. Scandir, meanwhile, I think that's an improvement that is... looks, based on time alone, like just he managed to actually get those turns down a little bit tighter. Still hasn't broken within the 50-second mark. And we did have the author telling us he reckoned a good world record time was probably around a 48.5. Is there's probably a second and a half to be shaved off just driving the hard way, right? Or is there something that the author knows that we haven't seen yet?
Oh, no. There's definitely a lot of optimization left to be done, I think. We see it was 50.02 right there. I think there's still a second to be clipped off for sure. And it's small optimizations, right? More inside line, just less turning in the fourth checkpoint. I think no clips happening in checkpoint 6 would help as well. So overall, a lot of things have to go your way. Because of the nature of this map, where it's super transitional, and then you have a couple of turns that actually require skill, but afterwards it's all down to luck mostly.
Yeah, I think luck, some element of it sneaking into that transition over the slow motion before, I believe it's checkpoint 7, as Yannick is just exploring a little bit more, seeing how slow this way is, and well, through checkpoint 1 there. Or true checkpoint, yeah, checkpoint 2. I don't know how much slower that was. Yeah, it was pretty good. That's an interesting one.
And then you get onto that tarmac here, and you can see how much speed does he gain. 160. See, he doesn't need to go that high to gain all that speed. Now he has less speed than others, and that's what's going to happen.
That was, I think, a function of him crashing beforehand, though. That was, but you do need to be aware of it, like you say. That's and it's not, it's very easy to be aware of that if you have to kind of like respawn or your approach is compromised coming into that checkpoint. But if it's something that's happened earlier in the map, I think muscle memory is going to catch a lot of these top players out, as they're used to arriving at the kind of 33, 35 second mark versus, if they arrive at 37 one round, all of a sudden they drop another 5 seconds. Things could get hairy for them.
Yeah, but I mean, still finishing with a 106. That's gonna keep you alive for most rounds up until, I would say, the top 30.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, probably. At some point.
No eliminations.
Yeah. No eliminations. Looks like 57 players starting. I guess the time has come to ask QDC, how many players do we think will get eliminated in this first round? I will say 7.
I'm thinking 4. Oh no, wait. We can't have 4, right? Because you have 6 out in the first round. Correct?
Do we have 6 out in the first round, or do we have 4?
I think it's 6 out
with 57 players. I guess we'll find out. You're saying minimum necessary. Right,
minimum necessary. There's not going to be, especially if the time limit, which I would guess would be 1 minute, is active.
I believe it might even be a full 90 seconds. I'd have to get confirmation, and we will by when someone crosses the line here. But it might even be as high as 90 seconds.
If it's as high as 90 seconds, then there's absolutely no way, unless there's a DNF. Well, 7 DNFs in that case, right?
Very close to the flagpole.
80 seconds. That is... Yeah. Six players.
Okay,
Minimum
but
necessary.
hear me out here. A couple of players did just join halfway through the warm-up round. Does that change your opinion? Because these are now players who've just joined who don't know the map at all.
Absolutely not. You have technically 2 minutes and 20 seconds to finish this map. If you cannot finish this map within 2 minutes and 10 seconds, there's a problem.
Yeah, there could be a problem. I'm just saying, Salty Sailors who's just joined, that could be a problem. Could be seeing the Salty Sailor going for a swim. Yeah, I'm just telling you, it's getting kind of spicy. It's getting a little bit closer.
Who joins 25 minutes late, though?
Well, people who want to make my prediction correct and here's wrong.
So you think one of these 4 people are going to DNF?
At least.
Okay.
Maybe all 4. And honestly, what if we get 8 people not finishing? I'm just saying.
True.
That, like I said 7. I think I'd go up to 8. I think I'll say it.
Because you would still need 7 or 8 non-finishers to have that happen.
Yes,
right?
that is correct.
It 6 eliminated, or is it 4?
We will find out in mere seconds here. 4 players. I'm going back down to I'm sticking with 8, QDC. I'm sticking with 8 as we start round 1 here, week 32, week 7 of season 2, and let's see which of these players does end up being eliminated. Right now, at the back, it's looking pretty rough for players, as some of them, Val in the Sky, still going for the hard way, crashing out pretty hard, and will be forced to go for the slow way. This is a lot of players still at checkpoint 1.
Yes, a lot of players. I don't know if you saw, but a lot of them went for the GPS.
It's not a great place to be on round 1.
No. You don't want to be in the GPS in round 1, man. What are you doing? What doing, man?
What doing? As look, Val in the Sky has made a few mistakes here at the start. There's no doubt about it, but it's still the 47th place. So as long as they can get across the line and is making the jumps necessary to do so, they're going to be safe this round. We'll see them again later on. But there's a lot of players. I'm seeing at least 5 players who I cannot click on because they've DNF'd or left the server.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, if they've left the server, does that really count?
Yes.
Damn it.
Like, explicitly, yes, it does.
It's just to amend your goals, man. This only because it suits you.
Yep. I mean, honestly, paid actors. I don't know what to tell you.
Paid actors. You joined the server with 4 different alt accounts just for me to be wrong.
100% correct.
This guy.
Yeah, 47
seconds behind.
Well clear. Very safe.
Yeah.
Salty Sailor, not so much.
My 4 prediction could still be right.
It could. Hachi's missing a checkpoint.
Is he?
Canadian's missing ice is going to get this last checkpoint. Yeah, because he just went across the finish line and didn't get a finish, and now it's getting closer than it should be, but uses the flag to bounce in, does it stylishly. That's a 53rd place finish, and we'll see who is left out on track right now. It's not bringing me to anyone. Oh, 10 players. I was 2 off. That's rough, buddy. That's rough, as I believe that is essentially 10 DNFs, multiple players leaving the server. That means we get underway. I think 4 players looking like a pretty safe bet here in round 2, as we'll see which those 4 players are. Val in the Sky, the player we were on board with last time around, managing to get pretty far clear of those lower runs and still look to maybe have a little bit left in the tank, but that's not an auspicious start.
I mean, to be fair, he'll catch up to a lot of players. But at the same time, you don't want to be stuck in the bottom whatsoever. Because even though
38.
You're probably safe being behind by 30 seconds, but you probably won't be if you're behind by 20, right? So you only want to reset every checkpoint once.
Yeah, every checkpoint. Yeah, resetting at every checkpoint once is probably a good way of considering how you can still survive these early rounds. I think probably for like 2 or 3 rounds you could get away with that, honestly, as long as it is only once, and then you maybe start to think, oh, that's unfortunate. That feels real bad. There's a couple of okay players down here at the bottom. I believe maybe a couple of DNFs already. No, Rama's still playing. Has managed to climb immediately back up, as we're on board with Norman Dieter, who is trying to get up out of 50th place and is right on that borderline at the moment. There's a player in front who I don't know if they have the speed. They do have the speed, and they'll make it through ahead. Crossing still in 50th place, having to wait, and you can see having to wait and see at that piston to see what it looked like. Meanwhile, the car in front just went racing on ahead, trusted it'd be there, and then tripping over that road border a little bit, relying on someone to fail to finish at this point is Dieter, looking to see if any of the cars in front will take more than one failure now.
I think he's determined to make it in, but I think he's deterred himself from doing so.
Yep.
Have I made enough puns at this poor guy's expense?
I think you've gotten far enough. Yeah, I won't deter you from making more, though, if you have any left in the tank.
Do you have any in the tank?
Oh, he's 49!
Oh, he makes it in! Oh, it's going to man!
Oh, no. The Lithuanian car, very stylish. Unfortunately, crossing the line in 50th place there with, I believe, a crash at the finish line, and that's tough. That is Dieter. Deter staying alive for a little bit longer.
No, not Hash. Oh, on top of that, he flags himself. He doesn't even finish. Oh, come on.
I mean, it's just, drops to 52nd as a result instead of going into the record books as a 50th place finish. Doesn't even make the top half century. But, you know, we are into those top 50 players now, and things will move pretty swiftly from here on out, as we are seeing now. It's already getting to a point where players mostly are getting across the line. Yeah.
And, I mean, at this point in time, right, we do have a rabbi already in our server. I didn't think that this Trackmania server was that bad, but the fact that there's a rabbi in here,
we've had
all
the
way
religion
from Texas
involved.
on top of that, is pretty impressive, honestly.
Well,
you need to be running a bad Trackmania server for a rabbi to be coming in.
I'm not going to ask too many questions, but I do wonder if a rabbi can perform exorcisms. You know, I mean, you see a lot of media with Christian priests performing exorcisms. I gotta know. Yeah. Can a rabbi perform an exorcism? Things I'm going to go and Google after the stream. I think he needs to be
qualified for that, right? I think he does need a license.
Sure.
To be able to do exorcisms. I do believe there are licenses to do that.
Interesting.
You can be a licensed professional exorcist.
Huh. Wild. Things I didn't expect to learn tonight. I also wonder how internationally those are licensed, but we can't get stuck in the weeds of this. I could talk about this for a while longer. We're going to watch if Schufler can manage to snipe anyone on the line. Is going to, first of all, need to get up to that last checkpoint, and then we'll see. It doesn't look like anyone respawning around them, and that spells maybe bad signs. It'll have to have happened behind them at this point, looking to make it up. That is a nice clean finish. Unfortunately, nice clean finish is still in 46th place, as that's maybe the kind of finish that we'd hope to see players in the top 10 make. You know, nice and low, keeping far to the right, not over jumping. That was a very clean finish.
Just like my meal plan, cauliflower is out. That's what chouflower is in
Nice.
in English.
Got him.
It is cauliflower. So yeah, he is out sadly, as Nua Lake joins us in the VC. Wow, incredible.
What?
There's two of you.
Oh dear, how's that happen? Oh, we have I see how it goes. We have a producer who's just joined us, and excuse you, that's not Nua Lake, that's Nua Loach. A little sneak behind the scenes for everyone.
Okay.
I'm being impersonated, but by someone who doesn't speak Irish and has deliberately chosen to misspell my name.
I can't even change my name to something funny. Oh wait, I can.
I feel like Quantum Deathcat. There's just so many syllables. At least one of them has to be changeable, and I know the one that I've immediately jumped to is the second one, but I'm not going to say what live on stream, as we're on board with Rabbi, who is currently making his way up into the top 10 of this round, and it is chaos on those last couple of turns, much as we expected it might be, and I expect that to continue a long while longer in these rounds up towards the finish as well. Ooh, that's Rabbi with a crash, but should still be well safe, as we'll jump back to the back of the pack instead, where two players with the Sun tag are battling it out. Pun Pun and David are trying to catch up with the players around them, are trying to maybe break into the top 41.
Well, it's going to be hard because in this section, everyone's quite clean. So he'll need to overtake. He went
Multiple.
Full speed and then reset. That's actually pretty smart overall. It might be faster if you're not comfortable with doing it. And look at that. He overtakes 4 players by doing so.
I'm not sure that's going to work into later rounds, but in the meantime, It's definitely, that's some full Trackmania 2 stadium strats coming out. Some TMNF, like, you know, drive into respawn, instant respawns, meaning that sometimes that's just quicker. Sometimes maps designed that way, and I do like the map respawns that we have in Trackmania 2020. I love, you know, maintaining momentum, but it definitely has discouraged a certain style of map building.
So, we have Nua Lake, Nua Loach, and Nua Roach in the VC now.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that nobody has ever tried to go with Nua Coach, because there's nothing that I can teach anyone. No one's ever even attempted it.
What you wouldn't Fiverr coach anyone on casting?
I mean, I don't know if I'm the example people want to be following. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to be giving them. Look, let's focus instead of that and on my inability to impart skills on Rabbi, who came top 10 in the previous round and is now languishing down in 40th and at risk of elimination.
Yeah, poor Rabbi here. He's gonna need to pull a miracle, as everyone else is pretty far ahead. Though there could be plenty of mistakes going on at the moving platform. Let's see if he gets caught up by it. Oh, he does, but he stays on. Oh wow, how has he saved that? He's still in 38th though, so he'll need to overtake someone.
The slow-mo. The slow-mo as Waltzner managed to re-overtake for a brief second. You're right, gonna need to see some crashes to finish there. There is, I said, the risk that is available at the end, and Waltzner took it, both hands out in front, grasped it. Rabbi is in a tough spot. There's been plenty of respawns though, and honestly it's hard to tell who's crossing the line where. Waltzner's crashing out, and there's a yet flag, and Rabbi isn't making the line. Someone got there in front of them, and now just trying to reverse the slow to race, and honestly I think they might have made it if they got there. Mitch Forklift has crossed the line, Waltzner has not. It would have been close. It would have been so close.
But the Halcyon driver gets his forklift license removed. Sad.
I genuinely think if he hadn't tried to reverse, he might still have made it across in time. I have no idea what happened. Chaos at the finish line. I'm not sure. He finished in 39th, and we saw Weltzner upside down there as well, and there might have been one player left out on track. I don't know.
I think it was the last one, though, on track at that point.
Okay. Could have been. Just don't crash the flag. Just good advice right now. Don't crash the flag, everyone.
Do not yet flag yourself, is pretty much what you're saying. As 4 players down in the bottom 4 are NTY, Jan van Spijk. Ooh, and Jan van Spijk is through. And it seems like Turbo is going to be eliminated here. He's going to be way too far behind. Even the safe way is too risky for him, apparently, at this speed. Oof. Big oof.
That's going to be tough. So we're going to jump back up the leaderboard a little bit and watch Tomod crash a pole, take the slow-mo, and still not be on track to get through. But we saw a respawn there. So this is a fight for 34th place right now. Deceptive with the checkpoints over on the side. And with a couple of respawns up in front, we will see how this works out for Tomod going towards the end. Now trying to, it will not crash, but we'll still be in 34th place. No more respawns coming through, and that is Tomod, Panado, and Weege joining Lucker's Turbo, who has DNF'd down in 37th place.
And has shown the streamer rage once again with the minus. The first minus of today. The first tilt.
The first one you've seen, possibly, but definitely not the first one that's been in chat.
I mean, I can't read chat that hard, and I wasn't exactly looking
understandable.
at it, to be fair.
Yeah, no, exactly understandable. Weege doing a valiant effort of reaching this finish line, but with 2 seconds left, not going to be making it across that line. 4 more players gone. We are down nearly towards our top 30. And we'll see how this does continue to play out at the top of the leaderboard. We're pretty safely into those top 50 times. Scandia setting that one a while ago. Yannick's looking to break it, but Scandia really out in front by a margin at the moment.
Yeah, he's definitely got the pace advantage over everyone else. And I think that's with good reason, right? He's definitely a really fast player. And he's shown us why, just by driving this map so far. A lot of players, though, failing the first checkpoint. It's weird to me, right? Because it doesn't seem to me like the second half is easier necessarily. In fact, if anything, it's more inconsistent. Yet somehow, players are really clean on it. And yet, this first half of the lap is extremely polarizingly hard somehow.
Yeah, I think it's just coming at that first jump in particular so low on speed and so low on any room to pick up the speed and conserve it. That's the point where you need to get your first turn right. And we called it out in the warm-up. We said that's tougher than it looks. Deceptively difficult, that first turn, because you can bounce off the plastic as well. And that's caught a lot of players out so far. Right now, Ice making the comeback after a pretty rough start, trying to make it all the way back up. And assuming they don't fail the finish, will be making it across this line with time spare. Pulch 2, though, is in a little bit more danger in 30th place, heading towards that finish line. Will get across in 29th place, kicking out Argicus, who crosses just a little bit too slowly. Never mind, Argicus makes it up into 29th as the leaderboard does something funky, and Jan van Spijk will be in 30th place. Colo will take 31st. 32nd going to Colo. Never mind, the leaderboard has jumped back down and Argicus has been re-eliminated.
Rip.
Well, that's rough.
Well
buddy.
then.
That's rough.
Oh man. Well, we're down to the top 30 now.
Yep.
And plenty of players still in contention to win, right? Of course, Scandier might be the fastest, but that doesn't mean that he's automatically going to win. Judging by last week, someone dominating and then failing the very, very, very last jump to lose it all.
Yep.
Just happened.
Yep.
So you can't say for sure that even though someone's 1 second faster than everyone else during every single round up until the final, you can't guarantee that they'll win.
Yeah. It's very true. So that's rough for Bato. This is again one of those respawns, and honestly I think the tragedy of that turn right there was that Bato had it if they just went, and I believe that's actually just Bat and it's a 0 afterwards. I'm just gonna go with Bat, but they had it and they chickened out, ironically, for the Bat in going for the first time when it was lined up for them. Look, it doesn't matter, I'm just pointing it out, as Tada is down low, Spammy Jr. down low as well. And I don't think they're going to make it back. I don't think there's going to be enough mistakes in time. And that's a couple of big names knocked out pretty early.
Yeah, that is Tada out. It seems like Spammy Jr. out. And is Pulch 2 out as well. Does seem like it. Yeah, so all 4 players, NTY, Spammy Jr., Pulch 2, and Tada are out. Oh boy, we have ourselves again Nalax on orange. That's I think his 3rd time on orange. He's been saved by the bell just a couple times so far.
One too many times for comfort. It's probably a fair way of putting it at this point as well. We're heading down towards our top 20. One more round before we get there, but a top 20 that still has plenty of names who could drop out, but we're seeing some of the big names up the top 10s on our leaderboards already gone. We've seen Techie down there in that danger zone a couple of times as well. Black Pulse holding their own, managing to avoid the danger zone all that often and hasn't been down there much. Right now, Yannick's the player in the hot seat. And I think we're expecting probably going to be overtaking someone pretty quickly here. There's someone who's had to take the slow zone. There's another crash out. Oof. And a couple of slow moving cars means that's immediately back up into the top 20 and feeling okay. On board now with Odd, who's having to gather a little bit of speed to get over this jump, hoping for good piston luck when they get there. It looks like the one on the right will be there and managing to spot that from distance and get there, but an awkward bobble means that they are still in the danger zone. Just playing it safe and going over that slow-mo zone as well, recognizing that maybe the mistake will come from a player in front, but will that going over the slow-mo have cost them their chance? Will that mean that a player in front of them manages to keep going? A double respawn from the car just in front of them. Another player respawning behind as well. Odd needs to get a clean finish here, needs to hope that things have worked out in their favor, and they will have. Across the line in 21st place, Mint Parker takes 22nd by just a 10th.
Rip Parker, Rip Nalax, Rip Australex, and Rip Jaxie. 4 players who played relatively each week, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Are out. So that is some regulars who are out in the mid-20s. That's surprising, actually.
Yeah, the regulars, well, they don't have to go home, but they can't stay here, as they will be knocked out of contention at this point, just outside the top 20. And this is now our second last round as well of 4 eliminations. That last round of eliminations is going to be absolutely brutal as well, given that we're going to be down to 17 players and eliminating 4. Have I got that right? That can't be right.
I do believe you are right, man.
That's going to be rough. That's about as rough. That is literally the roughest it can get, just with the way the maths has worked out.
Right, exactly. I mean, at least it's not top 13, right?
Yeah.
But still, because that does happen from time to time, especially when you play Cup of the Day in Div 30. That definitely does happen, because a lot of players just straight up leave, don't join. So let's say you're missing 3 players, then you're missing out on getting knocked out in 13th place, even though there's only 4 eliminations at that point for some reason. As Techie 51.4 wins the round, and everyone else except for Scandier getting more than a 53. So that is actually impressive out of Scandier and Techie, and it just shows that this map is extremely tough, right? That this map has a lot of unforgiveness that needs to be kept in mind. As oh, that's Skinny out, that's the Black Pulse out, that's Bat out, and that's also who was that? I forget. That is Hostile out.
Yep.
Hostile.
Tough round. Tough round. I'm telling you, I'm feeling a Marius podium tonight. This feels like a map where there's enough elements where if you get frustrated at them, they're going to punish you by being awkward. And I do think Marius, probably a player who's not going to lose his cool at those elements. You can see him. He's going for the slow way. He's like, yeah, whatever. I'll play it safe as long as I need to, and I'll continue to make it through. He will now drop behind Scalix, and so look, we'll just hope that my words don't immediately age awfully. Odd is the player who's on the cusp of catching back up for Lure de Perk in front, and that crash is an awkward one for Odd. A forced respawn, but not going to force him to go the slow way.
Odd is still... he's still in there. Scandier! Scandier! He's out!
He's DNF'd. A full DNF from Scandier. That is the current leader, the current fastest player on the leaderboard, the only player to break 50 seconds so far on the map. Knocked out of competition here in 17th place. El Joju is going to continue to trace the players on this one. He's looking to climb into the top 13, but I think really the focus this round is the fact that we've lost Scandier.
Yeah, the big focus is that we've lost probably the best or second fastest player in this server when it comes to this map. Oh, that was almost wicked, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's gonna be
it would have
another
been
DNF
cool.
there.
Yeah, I mean, like either way, was knocked out, so irrelevant. Right. But you know, we lost Scandier. We also lost Matrix on that round, the player who currently has the 4th fastest time. So it's getting thin at the top. It is becoming rarefied air up there for the players who are remaining, because there is not a lot of their compatriots left.
Well, top 14 now, 2 players to be eliminated and 1 scammer in your chat.
Oh, where's literally anyone to mod my chat at any time?
I can't do anything, and I think the player is currently taking a coffee break.
Entirely fair. Honestly, I really need coffee, and I need to figure out a way to do it. I have to go and do a podcast directly after this, and then I have to go and play a series of best of 3 of League of Legends, and I'm probably getting to bed at like sometime past midnight. It's going to be it's going to be such a long evening.
A BO3 League of Legends match? What is that going to take? Like 2 hours?
At least, man. I'm stressed.
You're playing a whole football match there. Maybe a full hockey game.
It's going to be too much. How about we lose Yannick's in this round, though? In sympathy. How about Scandier goes out? Techie, the only player from the top 3 currently left in, may be the only player from the top 5 left in, as Hazard will be then in 6th place, but dropping down the leaderboard on this round, and see if he reappears now in the full danger zone. Yannick's, I don't think anyone is coming back to save you. I don't think anyone is going to be respawning at this point. A 13th place finish, not quite managing to break the top 10.
No, he's won several of the last mini RPG of the day, as Yannick's and Valar de Par will come out of this one, and no Liquipedia entries for the Pork Stealer. Alright, well, 11 players left. We got plenty more to give out here, and of course, there's a couple players that we haven't talked about, right? Hazard, we haven't talked about him since the warm-up. But a player who we haven't talked about at all has been Hydro, the American player who's quite all right, I would say. He's a pretty decent player. He's nearing top 10. Let's see if he can get himself at least a Liquipedia entry here.
Yeah, sitting pretty comfortably up there at the moment, I would say, as we have players going very slowly at the back. There's a lot of respawns come through. One of them is Techie, as this curse on anyone who has a time in the top 5 so far tonight. Continuing on, Techie trailing at the bottom, may not even break the top 10. We might get none of the players with top 5 times on the server inside our top 10.
Another minus from Yannick's?
Yeah.
There's a couple of rage minuses, it feels like, right?
Yeah.
If they didn't go out in a BS manner, I think there wouldn't be the minus, but the tilt of going out in... Yeah, that's it. That's the minus.
That's the
right?
minus right on that last turn, 100%. You're absolutely right. I think overall the map flows quite nicely. There's a couple of elements that the players are finding a little bit inconsistent. That last turn, hitting that plastic and bouncing out.
There it is.
It's brought it out for a techie. I think that the transition from the pool over the slow motion onto the dirt, I think players finding a little bit too awkward for their taste as well. I understand it, right? Like when you're in a battle to stay in, when you're competing as hard as you can, and you feel like you couldn't have necessarily done better, or you're not 100% convinced that you have full agency over a turn, things do get a little bit rough. But at the same time, it is going to provide us a bit of an exciting finish. We're going to get a proper grandstand here when it gets down to it.
Very true. Now, because of the fact that we have an odd number of players left, right? Actually, it does make a difference where you finish, because 9th place gets no Liquipedia entry, and 8th place does. So whoever gets eliminated, whoever is 8th place, right, gets a Liquipedia entry. So you're still fighting for something this round, even if you're behind by a lot.
Have we stopped doing 10 places? Has someone swapped it to 8 places while I wasn't looking?
I think it's 8. I'm pretty sure.
It was 10 for a very long time. I'm like, look, I'll admit it. I haven't had time to check the Liquipedia page in a couple of weeks, so maybe it's been dropped to 8. Either way, 50-50 right now whether or not Scalix gets a Liquipedia page, and it is Scalix who's been sniped on the line. We'll lose by half second to Wolfie, and we missed it. I was too busy trying to consider tapping out to look for it. It was a good round though. Scalix did lose that one on the last checkpoint.
Let me see what the Liquipedia entry is actually, just for fun.
I'm pretty sure it's 10. I'm like pretty sure.
Let's see. Mini RPG of the week.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Oh, that's next week's mini RPG of the week.
Yeah. Oh, Luma's going to have a little bit of a rough time in the meantime, as we'll get QDC back any second. Don't worry about it. Pun is having an even rougher time of it. Luma, though, is the player who's chasing, and that touch will be another respawn, and all of a sudden you're starting to lose pack just a little bit too much with the pack that you are trying to chase. Right now, Luma full 5 seconds behind any of the players that they could overtake to try and get back into this top 5. And there is someone, though, respawning directly in front. Luma immediately back into that top 5. Wanjmoalebole is dropping a long way back to field on this one. Still, Pun is a long way back, but Monj could manage to overtake here at the end, choosing to take it very safe into that last plastic turn, going high and going for the double respawn strat on this last one as well. I don't think that's going to give you the speed you need. That's going to be a necessary flag from someone in front, and it didn't come through, meaning Monj drops out in 6th.
And look at that, right? Only Ice and Marius are able to get 51s and a 53 respectively. Everyone else in the high 50s. That's crazy long.
Yeah, this map, it's still catching players out as we approach the top 5. And as we've said, our fastest 5 players on the server, gone. No longer with us. Hazard, the closest we have to that, currently sitting in 6th place on the local records, and we'll see how that one continues on in this round. We're on board with Hazard, but he's out to a clean early start, and we saw Hazard from minute 1 just like, yes, I'm going to nail these first few turns. We saw him practice them a lot. It's paying off here, QDC.
It definitely is, and now with Wolfie having such a big oopsie, right? He finds himself, they all find themselves in situations where, oh, they could take this pretty safe and still be alive no matter what happens here. As I did take a look, it is still the top 10, you are right. Okay. So I've been misinformed by other co-casters, and I feel anger.
Oh, as well you should. We'll hunt down whoever's been spreading misinformation, and we'll sort them out. Don't you worry about that.
We could send Wolfie on their trail.
That's true. Inside you are 2 wolves. One of them is driving slowly, the other one is crossing the line in 5th place. And either way, you're going to be knocked out of this round of Mini RPG of the Week. A little bit tough, as Hazard, the player who just won that round and who is currently has the 2nd place record on the server, complaining that he doesn't understand the ice slide into wallbang. And I think that does go to show, yeah, there are probably still maybe elements of this map to be optimized, or at least better understood, as I think that's maybe not a complaint that he can't do it quickly, but more he doesn't understand why he does it quickly sometimes and does it slower other times.
Right, that's inconsistency at that point, right? Sometimes you'll have the speed, and sometimes you'll have a gear down for no reason. And that's exactly what happened, actually, to to last week. We had a big issue where a player, I think it was Annex, was absolutely off the charts fast, and then BMX sniped him in the last jump because Annex lost the gear.
Yeah.
Right at the end. And he was about a second faster than everyone every single round.
Like sometimes that's just the heartbreak of it. That's why we love the drama of it. Luma did call their shot before this round and said, yeah, this is the last round for me. And is now trailing by 10 seconds. So that tracks so far. Ice will be overtaken and will be moving slowly and will be losing a little bit of time here, but Luma just so far down the track that I don't see them doing it unless there's another big mistake from Ice in these last couple of turns. Maybe bouncing out of the blue? No, not quite, but I did see was that Hazard having to respawn the second to last checkpoint. Is going to be dropping a little further back, but Luma not even coming around that last turn just yet. As Hazard goes up and there was a full crash. Ice forced to respawn, and now there comes Luma. And now Ice can't afford a second crash. This time will play it nice and safe. Splits the two flags, and Luma will cross behind. Ultimately, only 3 seconds down on Ice, an awful lot closer than they were. But I think the key word there is that still down. Still down.
Right. Still down and out for the count. Top 3 now is a couple of players that we didn't expect to be here, right? After looking at the top times, we definitely expected at least one of Skandir, Techie, Yannick's to be here as well. It's just Hazard was a top 5 time alongside Marius and Ice. And it just comes to show you that consistency so far is key, as we see Marius, he's still going the safe way.
He's top 3. I told you I saw Marius podium. I genuinely thought at some point he'd have to stop taking the safe route.
No.
He's going to get top 2 taking the safe route. I think Stream could still hear that. Deployer's not even producing, and he's still managing to introduce that Roblox sound to it, as we will watch Hazard drop a long way back. And that's the key point here. It was Hazard, currently the second fastest player on the server tonight. Not with enough speed to make it at all. Marius is going to fight it out for another mini RPG of the week win, and he's going to do it in the most Marius way possible by refusing to abandon the safe route on the first checkpoint.
Now, would this be Ice's first win for mini RPG of the week? I do believe it would be, right?
Great question. Maybe. This is why we need a dedicated stats team.
I wish Ice got second place in edition 4.
Okay. That's good.
So,
now, quick, scroll through the other 28 editions up until this point, and
let me.
While QDC does that in the next 50 seconds, let's figure out who will be the ultimate winner of this one. We're going to stay on board with Marius for these first turns, because I reckon Marius is going to go. No, he's going for the non-risky route for the first time, and it's immediately failed. Of course it has. He's immediately tried the non-risky route. He's tried the hard way for the first time in the final round, and it has not worked out. And as a result, Ice is cruising away to what could be their first mini RPG of the week win. We don't have full confirmation on that just yet. But with Marius 6 seconds behind, it will be Ice's first win, and he does it by pressuring Marius enough that Marius didn't want to go for the same way, and that's Ice crashing. It's crashing. How far back is Marius? No! Marius crashes again! Oh no! As Ice is still in the lead. And Ice this time won't crash out on the blue final turn. We'll be safe up to this last checkpoint. It's a slow turnaround, but it doesn't matter. Here comes Marius around that last turn, just in time to see Ice take flight. And Ice will cross the line in first place to take a win in Mini RPG of the Week number 32. That's week 7 of Season 2. Marius will pick up another podium, doing it in Marius fashion, and coming second when he betrayed his ideals to go for the risky route.
Now, Ice has gotten so many top 10 finishes for Mini RPG of the Week, gotten himself in top 10 week 1, week 17, week 18, week 24, and just a couple weeks ago, season 2, week 4. So now, with their first ever win after their first podium just a month ago, what a wonderful continuation of form here for Ice. Very, very well done. Their first win on anything Liquipedia related since 2020 when they won Solar Nerds Cup Edition 7.
Yeah, pretty impressive, and did it in impressive fashion in a map that was catching a lot of players out with elements that, you know, they were definitely choosing to describe as inconsistent, and we can choose ourselves whether or not we'll do that too. But, you know, just kept ahead and kept it clean and kept it moving and still got caught out at times, but kept the recoveries there too, managed to keep the car moving when they needed to, and beating out Marius. It's stiff competition, and it's a scary place to be. Even when Marius has made a mistake and is 5 seconds behind, we saw when Ice made their mistake, still managed to recover and keep that car going across the checkpoint and ultimately across the line for that first win. QDC, I'm going to wrap things up there. I've got a busy evening ahead of me. It isn't going to slow down from here on out. Thank you very much for joining me here on Mini RPG of the Week number 32. Thank you very much for looking after the channel while I've been gone.
hey, listen, at this point, I'm like the third main person on your channel, right? You have the player, and you have the player.
Listen, you may have to fight Mockfish for that designation, but he's not been around for a few weeks, so honestly... That's on him. I think you're winning that fight over season 2, but don't I'm going to say that quietly. Nobody send Mockfish any clips of that. We will see everyone back here next week. Hopefully, drop the follow if you haven't already. I mean, it's a good time. We play some Trackmania. We'll do some more over the next little while as well. And once again, thank you all very much for joining us. See you all again soon. Goodbye. Goodbye. Go home. Get out of here. All right. And we are out.
That was so fun.
That was a good time.
That was
we're
very...
still...
Cold light falling on the ground.